B'Rev Yom Tov, everyone, Chag Shavuos. So we know that Aseret Dibros, the Ten Commandments, starts with the pasuk Vaydaber Elikim. It's called Advar Me'ela Lemar, and the famous question, when usually it says in the pasuk Vayom Hashem Moshe Lemar, God spoke to Moshe that he should give over to the Jewish people. But by Matan Torah, the Jewish people were there. Everyone's on the mountain when God was speaking to Moshe. And not only that, all the souls of old times, even the converts were at the on the mountain. So who's Lemar? Who's he saying to give it over to? This question is a famous question asked in many discourses in many places. And this mimer that we learned this week, the Rebbe discusses like this: that the idea is that we know there's the 10 Commandments and there's the 10 utterances. Like it says in the Parshas Nasi this week, Asara Asara B'Kaf, that on the scale, the 10 Commandments and the 10 utterances correspond to each other. Like we learned in Pirkei Avos that God created the world with 10 utterances. And the idea is that one is supposed to infuse the 10 Commandments into the 10 utterances. But the question that we ask is, why does the world need the 10 Commandments to exist? God created the world before He gave the Torah many, many years. And God, like the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, that God keeps the world in existence constantly. We're learning this now in the Shar Yichud V'Amunah. And if for a second God loses His attention or doesn't give life, vitality to the world, it won't exist. Why is that not enough? Why do we need the Torah to keep the world in existence? So to understand this, we have an idea like this. And this is really the whole point of Matan Torah, something we should get ready for, and kind of also something we should take home for ourselves. It says about the second day creation that God separated the waters. He separated the waters, that He brought the Mayim Al Yoinim, the heavenly waters, and then He put the waters Tachtonim, the lower waters. The Zohar says that the lower waters cried to Hashem and says, we also want to be up in the higher realms. We also want to serve Hashem. We also want to be something that gives life towards godliness. So God promised the waters that they would also be used for the Mizbeach, for the altar, for the korbanos, for the sacrifices, and also for the drawing of the water on Sukkot in the Nisach HaMayim, the pouring of the water, and then the drawing of the water and all the simcha that's connected to that. So the idea is that water gives life, plants, grows. Anything that a person feels, any desire you have, any want you have, any love you had, it's matzmiach. It grows from the waters. The question is, there's holy things that you could want, and there's holy things that matter to you. There's holy things that you love and you desire, and there's worldly things. There's all levels of worldly things, from things that are okay to things that are not even, that are forbidden. So the lower waters are supposed to give life to worldly things. The upper waters gives life to holy things, godly things. And the second day, before the second day, the waters were together. It wasn't that there was one water. There was always two types of waters. But it was hard to differentiate between what's upper waters and what's lower waters. It was all mixed together. Everything seemed like one big package deal. A little bit of godliness, a little bit of kogel, a little bit of Yiddishkeit, a little bit of self-joy. All this was all together. Everything was together. The second day, God says, no, we have to separate it. Example is given like wine that has in it the wine and the pulp that's in the wine. Then until you clarify the wine, you pour it into the sieve and you separate the bad parts of the wine is, it's all one drink, but it's cloudy. It's not the style, the level of wine that you're looking for. But when you clarify, you take out the bad parts, you take out the pulp, so then the wine becomes, like it says in Hebrew, tzalul, it comes clear. And clear is not just it becomes a clearer color, but also the mission is clear. The upper waters is the clarity that Hashem gives us, that a person's supposed to be driven by Yiddishkeit, by Torah mitzvahs. But the way the upper waters are alone, that's separate from the world. As if a person says, how do I find God? I have to leave my space in order to get close to Hashem. But that was up until Matan Torah. Comes Matan Torah, God says no. Once you have that clarity, once you could differentiate, a person could identify what is a love for Hashem, what is a love for the world. What does it mean to desire Hashem? What does it mean to desire worldly things for the sake of worldly things? Then you could take the 10 Commandments, Vaydaber, and bring it to Lemor. You could take the 10 Commandments and infuse it into worldly things. Not that a person shouldn't have worldly things, and not that a person shouldn't have brachas and gashmis, but you should have the clarity, the tzalul, of why you have it. I just want to finish off. The Rebbe brings down in Haggadah Shal Pesach that the Rebbe Rashab says that when we open the door for Eliyahu Navi by the Seder, we should ask for ruchnis and not gashmis. Again, it doesn't mean necessarily you should just only ask for spirituality. But even if you're asking for gashmis, your gashmis should be honestly motivated for furthering an interest of ruchnis. Yaakov Avinu had gashmis. but his Gashimus was for Ruchnis. We're standing tonight, ready to enter the 50th gate. The Satan is gone. The Rebbe brings down that from the Gemara and Shabbos, there's no Satan, there's no adversary, there's no one's going to bring up your past. You could walk straight through that gate, but the question you have to ask yourself, do you have the clarity to know how to take the Seres Adibris and bring it into the Seres Mamoris, the 10 Commandments, into the 10 utterances, that no matter what you ask, but the reason you're asking it is Shifti B'Feis Hashem, to be able to make this place a dwelling place for Hashem, to further the agenda of making the place like Nigol Miyad, to bring Moshe, Yisrael, and David back into this world with the building the Beis HaMikdash, with the speedily in our time we should be Zoicha. May it be Taka this Yom Tov itself. Good Shabbos and good Yom Tov.